and tell us what's happening with your situation in the city down there. And so you can sort of bring us up to date, and then we'll go to our organizational reports after that. So, Mayor, Tyrone, you want to introduce yourself?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Mary Ann Whipple Lue, Mayor of Gordon, Georgia.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. First and foremost, I'd like to give honor to God.
Amen.
He's my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And to, I dare not maybe exclude the Holy Spirit. And to the most honorable Tyrone Brooks, men of the most distinguished Miss Rita Judy, and Rita Sanders. I'm sorry. I have another new friend. She's Puerto Rican. I don't know why Judy came out. But then Helen Butler, and to each and every one of you who are distinguished. Yes. Reverend, oh, to the most. I just really count it an honor and privilege to be here this morning. I was coming to be in the audience. Not to say that I had anything to say, but I must say that since I've taken on the mayorship, it has really been exciting. Interesting, and a challenge. And it's something that I really feel in my heart that I can handle. You can. Praise God. Because on my own I can't. But nevertheless, to say I was sworn in January 6th of this year. And 3 weeks into the position, the office of mayor, I had 4 EEOC complaints lodged against me as discrimination. I went in supposedly threatening to fire everybody who's white. And bringing in all blacks. That's not true. Secondly, at the next special call meeting, I asked for an audit. Because that's just good business.
It is.
Right?
It is.
And from the history of Gordon, you gotta remember, over 100 plus years, who's been in position. So, with me being the first, as we say, we call ourselves African American. As me being the first African American, and not only African American, but a female. That put the icing on the cake. So some are not, some men, just not, that's just not the accepted norm. It happens in our communities, our churches, for some, not all. But to move further along with that, I've had 2 of my own council members file a lawsuit against me. So that's pending. I've been suspended twice. Back in June, temporarily had a suspension for 30 days. And back to back, the judge reinstated me and then turned around, took me back to court and suspended me again for the month of July. So with all of that, I've been accused of stealing grant money and misappropriating funds. We yet don't have a handle on the budget. We yet have not completed the audit. They said I was racial. I'm a racist, and I don't believe in inviting the others. So I went way to Buckhead, Sandy Springs, Georgia. To prove them wrong, I brought in a Euro. And he's a forensic auditor. Well renowned, has spoken at the U.S., I'm trying to think, is it in New York? United Nations. Has spoken there, and he comes in and now he's being held in contempt. He's got 1 year his deputy. Trying to get to the bottom of where's the money. And that's what it's all about. It's not about, I'm a retired government employee, okay? I'm retired with years of service working with affirmative action and ADOC and all of that. All of a sudden, it's reversed. And I've never known of too many black folk that discriminate. We've been the most forgiving folk planet on this earth. And all of a sudden, they diverted it away from the issue about the money and made it into a race. I told them to try and justify. I said, well, part of, I just happen to be one of the black bears. But most of my family consists of, we're very diverse. And so to say to that, what they've tried to do is come in and intimidate me, to frustrate me, to cause me to say, it's not worth it. I've had my own come and say, is it worth it? I've always been told, as I shared with my parents, my mother, they're getting of age now, growing up, said, you know what? You can do and become anything you choose in life. But the older they get, they are deciding to say, is it worth it? I said, well, you all is fearless in me. My dad said, well, I don't know where you get it from. You always standing strong and speaking your mind. I said, well, you always taught us truth. To stand for what's right, and if you don't stand for truth, you'll fall for anything.
Amen.
And I said, if you don't want truth, you don't need me. And I said, in every aspect of my life, have I been perfect? No. Have I always done and said everything right? No. I'd like to think that I'm perfect in my own eyes, but in someone else's, there are flaws, and I've accepted this. And I said, well, it's a job. I asked, the people came to me and said, we need someone to run. Now, I have a history prior to this. I got started in the early campaign with, they represented Tyrone Brooks, Cynthia McKinney, who came down and ran for Congress, and I supported her, and we all joined and come together and formed the Women's Political Caucus of the state of Georgia. God has given me the gift of gab, and I've always gone throughout the state. I said, well, you want the people to come together, then I need to be the media relations person or the public relations person. So that I was, I served throughout that. So along with that, I became the first female to ever be elected to the Wilson County School Board. Black or white. So it was that, and I served 2 terms, and never before I ran for state rep for District 144. Of course, I was not successful, but I learned a whole lot, and I met folks throughout that district, or 7-county district. And so now, after that, then someone approached me and said, well, Miss Mayor Whipple Lue, what's next? I said, well, look up at the sky. And we looked up at the sky together, and I said, what do you see? She said, nothing. I said, the sky's the limit. So we came along, and the people in the community said, well, we need someone to run for me. And will you support? We will support you. And they supported me. It was not black, it was not all white. It was us coming together. And some of the people that are in the community from long ago said, well, first thing you need to do when you get in there is not only have an audit or do an audit, but have a forensic audit. Because the money's been gone for years. And as state representative can tell you, Gordon is very blighted. And I've always been told without a vision, the people perish.
Amen.
And my people perish for lack of knowledge. And lack of knowledge will destroy you. That's right. It's not circumvented. So ladies and gentlemen, look on the website. Google the Mayor of Gordon, Georgia. If you read and see, it's not true. So I'm here to say, Brother Ryan, George Ryan. Stand up, Brother Ryan. I'm sure he knows right. George has been my name. I know he's gone, everybody's called him from everywhere throughout the state of Georgia. But George, from Quitman all the way to Mays to Dawson, Georgia, to all of the parts of Georgia, he puts out the truth. Go to his website, YouTube Boston G.B.R. And you'll get all truth. The media right now, from all the way to Atlanta, I've come to Atlanta to channel 46, trying to get the news to report the truth. And you know what they say? Well, I come from down Macon's way, and I know this person and I know that person is hard for me to go against. So I have great representation. I come way up here to Fayetteville, Georgia. I went through a slew of attorneys, not you, ma'am. But I found Wayne Kendall.
That's my former law partner.
Well, don't go telling it all because
He's a good man.
So, but the thing of it is that they're trying to hit me where it hurts, money-wise. And they've been, as I said, diverting the attention away. And yes, I've had to come out of my own pocket and spend my own money. Ladies and gentlemen, I have other bills. I got things to do besides pay for legal defense. But it's jointly, but yeah, by the grace of God and help of God, it's people like you that I reach out to and say, help a sister out. So, nevertheless, you know, we're here, and as I said, the truth. The media has been very biased all the way around. Everybody except that great man, Mr. George Boston Ryan, and the man above. Along with my husband, who is not my, I've not employed him, as I said, yet in this business, but it may be further down the road. So know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Thank you.
Amen. You said that we can read up.
He was talking about his website.
No, but you said something that we can read about what they're saying about.
Google.
Just
Google your name, okay.
Boston G.B.R. I got all the history about the mayor. That's the
what
point
he
she made.
said was,
Boston
what
G.B.R.
what he said was, what was the website that you could, that she referred to? But she was basically saying to Google on the internet, Gordon, Georgia, and I'm sure it will pop up as to what has been happening with her. Yes, Ron?
You had her, yeah.
Janetta?
I did Google it, it did pop up, and I was wondering, what was the restraining order about? I saw it listed, restraining order.
Thank you for asking. One more again, that restraining order, they did the audit last year. And I was told that, March of this year, the auditor wanted to come back and make some adjustments.
Oh, I know.
You don't publish a book and then have a recall to come back and republish that book once it's been distributed and dispersed. So I said, well, I went down and met with the auditor, a long-time councilman formerly in Macon, Georgia, Dr. Ficklen, myself, and a few other council members. And we went down and met with the with the auditors. And I said, well, what kind of audit have you done? He said, well, they presented us what they wanted us to audit. I said, oh. I said, so you don't do a forensic? No, we don't do that. We just have taken basically what they brought in and said we need to audit that. Natural. Well, my clerk is making all kinds of money.
Videotaping. If y'all need to be videotaping, I just told her I I'm waiting on you. I'll just say Marianne.
When you was elected, some folks don't think it's like 20 years ago. Exactly. That's my sister. Now they got all the
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines, and we're in Atlanta, Georgia. And I met a beautiful brother here. What's your name, man?
Tim Franzen.
Okay, and this is the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, right?
That's
and
right.
you come here every now and then, or how do you attend these meetings?
As much as I can, you know, the People's Agenda, American Friends Service Committee, who I work for, is a part of the coalition. So I try to show my face here as much as I can.
Okay, I saw you had some flyers. Tell me a little bit about what you was handing out and what you are trying to accomplish here, so I can get this out to the people.
Well, as folks may know, right now, this past year, there's been really a historic effort to get folks registered to vote. And through the efforts of the New Georgia Project and the Pro-Georgia Table, there have been an additional 86,000 people registered to vote. Now, this is scary to the extremists in Georgia that continue to pass policies that benefit a few and cost the rest of the state. Because the folks that have been registered are young people, and particularly communities of color. Folks that typically don't vote for these crazy conservatives that continue to push these crazy policies. And so what the Republican Secretary of State, Brian Kemp, has done he's done everything he can to obstruct these folks from being able to vote. And right now, as we speak, over a week into this election, there are still 40,000 eligible voters that have been left off of the voter rolls. Now, this is really criminal. And regardless of how things move forward, this election is already tainted because there are 40,000 folks that have been blocked from the process. Now, this is not the first time that Georgia has dealt with its ugly legacy of voter suppression. And sadly, it may not be the last. But we're certainly not going to sit back and allow this voter suppression to happen without us making some noise. So there's going to be a lot of us all over the state on Monday that are going to be holding rallies. In Atlanta, we'll be holding one at 3:30 at the Capitol, right outside Brian Kemp's office. And we're going to have voters that have registered for the first time, and their names aren't on the rolls now. They're going to be there speaking. And many of us are willing to put our bodies and our freedom on the line if they're going to stop us and our fellow Georgians from being able to vote. Our message is simple, it's clear, it's let us vote, Brian Kemp. But it's 2014, we're not going to allow for somebody to stand in the doorway of democracy and stop this, stop folks from being able to vote.
Hey, what's your name?
Tim Franzen.
What organization are you with now?
The American Friends Service Committee.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Do you have a
social justice.
Do you have a website or email address where people can
Sure.
up with you?
I can be reached at tfranzen, that's Franzen, at afsc.org, as in American Friends Service Committee. And our website is afsc.org, as in American Friends Service Committee, afsc.org. And it's an international organization, so you got to click on Atlanta, and you can follow the work that we do. We work with the People's Agenda. We do a lot with Moral Monday, Georgia. We do a lot of coalition work. So,
let me ask you a question, because I'm from down in South Georgia, Brooks County, home of the Equipment 10+2, who was falsely accused and just played with by the governor, the Secretary of State, Brian P. Kemp. Brian P. Kemp has done so much wrong in terms of not following up on valid complaints. We provided him with DVDs, and we even had his investigator, Glenn Archer, to go to county after county, and he never followed up on the complaints that were submitted. So I am not surprised by what is happening up here in North Georgia. But my question to you, my beautiful brother, directly, is that you are of the Caucasian persuasion, and for you to know what's going on, a lot of people, when I've been talking about the governor and the Equipment 10, as well as the newly elected black mayors, and how they putting impediments out there to keep them from taking on office and representing the people that elected them to office, people think that I'm just a black man crying in the wilderness with no substance. But you are telling me that you know that what you are saying with these 40,000 voters, you are saying that you have some tangible information. Am I correct?
I'm saying that these are knowable facts. This is proof, and I can't say this isn't about black and white, it's about right and wrong, because race is an issue. But one of the things that excites me about being a part of the People's Agenda and being part of Moral Monday is that we often say forward together, not one step back. And that means that our destinies are intimately linked together. And we can no longer afford to allow a few folks at the top to separate us by issue, by race, by gender, by sexual orientation, by age. That forward together means that our destinies are linked and we can't leave another community behind. And the big lie that has been told to the white community for years, is that they've tried to separate folks. And if there isn't a group that votes against their interests more than low-income whites. And I grew up in a community out in Powder Springs, Georgia. And if you were a poor white, you lived in the trailer park. And if you were poor black, you lived in the projects. And some of the tough decisions that you had to make in either one of those households are very similar. Around which bill you were going to pay, whether you're going to buy food or pay this bill, not getting paid enough. But at the end of the day, the dirty little secret in the white community is that folks in the trailer park can say, well, hell, at least I ain't black. And this is a lie that's been sold to our communities for far too long. And we have to learn how to come together and see that there's a very, very small group of folks that continue to separate our communities to their benefit and to our detriment. And so it can't be about, this is Moral Monday and the People's Agenda is about bringing white, black, brown, gay, straight, everything in between, old and young together, forward together, not one step back.
Thank you, my beautiful brother, and I love the diversity that was at this meeting. I'm from South Georgia, but I wish that the people in Waycross, Thomasville, Georgia, could see the energy that is here in this building this day. I will drive from Valdosta up here to another meeting, and I promise you, because that's the power to hear NAN, the NAACP, and all these other organizations to come together, and churches. I was really amazed. I wanted to get up and speak, but I know they were pressed for time.
Yep.
Thank you, my beautiful brother.
Thank
Once
you.
again, this is the Ghetto Free Press. George Boss Ryan. We report what others ignore. But down here at 828 Auburn Avenue, I believe. Peace be unto you. Bye-bye. We're gone.
Criteria is, and then you can raise funds to meet that.
That's right.
We're going down to the S.C.L.C. building at this time. This is the mayor, Mayor and Whipple Lue.
All right, it's nice talking to y'all. We'll be in touch, Ron. Thank you.
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and we're down here, 328 Auburn Avenue, downtown Atlanta, Georgia. Again, this is the S.C.L.C. building. This is downtown Atlanta once again.
We got some good community folks. Take it over. We don't want you to be burdened with nothing else. You got enough.
Right.
Now see this beautiful lady here, the first lady?
Yes.
Look at that gorgeous woman from, I know her. Marysville County, Alabama. Number one. Okay, look over here. The second beautiful first lady, same city, Marysville County, Alabama.
Look at that.
By the side of the border.
Right.
Both of these women.
Right.
And Andrew Young's wife was also from Marysville, Alabama. So these three women, Coretta, Juanita, and Andrew Young's first wife, Jean.
Yeah.
They were from the same little home country town, cotton picking country town, Cary County, Alabama. And I asked Dr. Abner, how you find this beautiful lady? Where's she from? He said, she's from the country. I said, does she have any sisters? He said, yeah. I said, where are they? He said, over there in Cary County, Alabama. I was 21 years old. He said, I promise you, if you go there and meet one of her sisters, that's going to be your wife. I never got a chance to go over there.
But she is so humble.
And that's Mrs. Lowry, the third president.
Yeah.
That's Mrs. Steele, President Steele's wife.
Yes.
One of the things that
Come on in here. Charles Steele did this deal with us.
make
Senator Steele, my friend of 35 years. We go way back when he was in the Senate, and I was here, and the president of Alabama's S.C.L.C. was Reverend John Nettles, and he introduced me to Charles. So Charles and I have been like brothers for over 30 years. And I helped get him here when he was the first president to come in to build this building. Then he left and came back. He's on his second tenure as president. Hey, all
Even
right.
though she won,
President in.
they still gonna try to destroy us if we don't make some trust.
Can we sit in the
All
conference?
done to that.
We just sit in the conference room around him.
Meet his office.
This is the S.C.L.C office here, and this is the Ghetto Free Press. So you can see here the president served conference.
But it's people like Pam and Joe who stand with you,
Young David Evans.
and I will forever continue to stand with people.
It's beautiful,
I
and
stand
above
with
all the
Quad
beauty,
every,
it is history.
trying to get there as often
Too often
as
down
I
south,
can in the church-based meeting, to stand with other women and men who need someone to say,
This is Gwen, our receptionist.
do it. I'm so understand it, and I'm just so grateful to still be in business and to have an opportunity to reestablish my business.
What kind of?
We are renovation, restoration and commercial, we're certified to do land, asbestos, abatement, we've done government contracts.
The Honorable Mayor. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Oh, so good to see you.
I told all about you.
Oh, I know you did.
Told about this building.
This my friend. You know that's my friend.
Look, now I'm a friend.
And you'll be speaking equipment Saturday.
That's right. I'll be there Saturday.
And now we're friends.
Oh, ain't that
But
wonderful?
this is
Amen.
beautiful.
George, our PR man, he
Yeah, I remember George.
Yeah.
George covers everything. He,
Yes,
was, he
sir.
was in Gordon last night.
Is that right?
Yeah, last night. He'll
That's
be in
wonderful.
equipment again on the weekends.
So we'll be in equipment. We'll be there.
Yeah. Thomas, do me a favor.
Hey, Miss Minnie.
And that's my better half baby.
Oh, ain't that sweet? Good to see you. Was George to meet today?
No.
Okay.
How's your wife doing?
She's doing fine.
Madam First Lady.
How you doing?
President still wants you to meet
Seen
me.
you in a long time. How you doing? Okay. Wow. What you up to? And hello.
This is the Honorable Mayor of Gordon,
Get me in
Georgia.
the picture, did you?
Mary Ann Whipple Lue. The Mayor of Gordon, Georgia, where I was last night, which is not far from here, between here and Macon, in that area. And she came to the People's Dinner meeting today and just wanted you to meet her.
And I'm so it's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much. Thank you. And is this just a
It's her
daughter?
daughter.
Wow.
Like a sister, right?
Yes.
How you doing? I'm George Brown, Ghetto Free Press. A lot of you. Nice meeting you. This is the mayor's husband.
Yeah, this is beautiful.
Y'all headed out or what?
When we pulled up to that courthouse, I just wanted to just get out and cry. I cannot believe that they burned it down. I thought it caught on fire. You just look through and you got to know the history of Hancock County. My John McCown went over there and took over. They have burned the courthouse down.
Oh, no.
Well, maybe. They burned it. Somebody burned that courthouse
What?
down.
What?
And we kind of know what happened. But anyway, Helen made a very good talk to the group of people that Judge Edith Ingram had pulled together in Spark. We know she was the first probate black female judge in the country back in the 60s. And they're having some real problems.
Hey, how you doing?
And
Good. Tell me what you got on your mind. I was on the way out and she said somebody want to see the house today.
Yeah, I am still. I am talking to the young lady.
Yeah.
She used to
She's a
own.
young lady.
She used to own.
I'm 16. I'm your man.
She used to own Carver's Country Kitchen over on Marietta.
Okay.
Her and her husband, Bob and Sharon Carver, Robert Sharon, and Robert died. Got lung cancer, died about 18 months ago. And she is one.
Go over here just a little bit. For my eyes will be squinching. Yeah, but it's good in the sun.
Carver's Country Kitchen
Are you familiar with Carver's Country Kitchen?
over on Marietta.
Marietta Street? It must be downtown.
It's
Back
on
that
the
way.
west side.
Yeah, northwest. Marietta Street, Charles,
Yeah.
through town. I've never been there, but it's got to be that way going on Marietta through town.
You thought that was his daughter? You thought that was his daughter?
This is the mayor of Gordon, Georgia. Mary Ann Whipple Lue from Gordon, Georgia.
Yeah. Right outside of Macon, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, past Milledgeville going.
Hey, when I grow up, I want to be just like you.
Like him. She might have some sisters.
Yeah, I do. They're voluptuous, but they're coming for. Yes, indeed. Nice officer.
Y'all take care, man.
I left her a message.
Because he has to get on free press. Tyrone Brooks holding the door for us.
Yes, sir.
Oh, here's Gloria.
How you doing, sir?
Hey, good to see you.
All them boys are grown.
Yes, yes.
Little children.
That's
good.
They
grown, they gone. So I remember when those boys were done, Dubois used to bring it to the council. But I remember when Dubois ran for governor, she ran for lieutenant.
That's right, and they played it so well.
Yeah.
They were that military together.
Yeah.
Like, I trained with both of them. I could just tell people, I got them both up there, what, in March, was it? At the Democratic
Where some of these alleged 40,000 are not on the rolls. So we're gonna be doing training to make sure we train people. I have a training set up for some teams of lawyers as well, but we'll be sending out the actual schedule for training. We want you to sign up for that. So we'll tell you more about that as we go. Gabio, our representative Tyrone Brooks.
Well, Reverend Jones, I know how you feel. Leroy Wilder was the first black